Good morning, everybody. As we get started, we just want to let you know we will be hosting the question and answer through the chat session. So please hover over the bottom of your screen and you'll see the fourth icon on the left in the middle of your screen is your chat function. And please just chat to everyone so that our moderator, Melissa, is able to see all of your questions that will be asked at the end of the meeting. And now I'd like to introduce Michael and Joe to start our session.
Good morning, everyone. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. We appreciate everyone for taking the time out of their schedules. It's great to see such a great crowd to start this Friday morning. And I want to thank Congresswoman Lori Trahan for taking the time out of her schedule to talk with our members today. I just want to introduce our President, Joe Bevilacqua, real quick, who's going to say a few words, and then we'll get underway.
Good morning, everyone. Let me say thank you to all of you. A special thank you to our Congresswoman who we saw yesterday at another event. She's nonstop working with the chamber. Let me tell you one thing that's important. Michael won't give me a chair, so I have to kneel. So let me tell you why the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce's Women in Business program is so important. Michael will talk to you a little bit about it. But I'll give you a true example that occurred literally a half an hour ago. A woman-owned business in Haverhill called us very concerned about a particular issue. We made a phone call for her. The person that had to call her was going to call her within 20 minutes from our call. That's why the connection, women now feel confident calling the Chamber of Commerce, the Merrimack Valley Chamber, for assistance because they know that we care about their business. They know that we can make the connections for them. They know that we can provide the mentoring opportunities and the networking connections they need so greatly. So we want to say thank you to each and every one of you. And I'm glad to see there are men as well as women on this call because it's obviously a network of togetherness that we want to continue to foster here in the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce. A great diverse membership. Thank you so much. I could talk for a half an hour. They only gave me less than 2 minutes. Wouldn't even give me a chair. So thank you all. Thank you to our Congresswoman. Once again, she's tremendous to work with. Every time we call her office, we get an immediate, I think we already had 4 calls today talking about issues that our businessmen and women had concerns with. So I want to say thank you once again to all of you. Hope you have a great, great day. This would have been an in-person meeting if it wasn't for COVID. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to it next year. But again, thank you so much. And thank you to our panelists, Michael. We've got a great group of panelists. Thank you again, all. Thank you. Have a great day. And hopefully have a great Thanksgiving. I can barely get up, Michael.
Thank you, Joe. And again, thank you to everyone. I want to first off thank our title sponsor for today's Women in Business Conference, TD Bank. They've been the sponsor year after year of this conference, and we just want to say thank you for their support. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do a great program like this today. In a minute, I just want to introduce our moderator, but first, I just want to mention that, as Joe mentioned, the Merrimack Valley Chamber's Women in Business Series is about mentorship, leadership, and networking, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So we want to thank you all. We hope to be back in person with you all soon, but until then, we'll be here virtually. And I want to mention that our quarterly Women in Business series will continue. You can actually register for the event today. I'll put the link in the chat in a minute. It'll continue on December 1st. It's going to be with a keynote speaker, Dina Young from Landmark Finish. And her and her business have flourished during this time. They've completely transitioned to assist businesses from reopening standpoints by doing the face guards and the shields and all that stuff. And we're really looking forward to hearing from her and hearing about her leadership through this whole pandemic. So that, again, that takes place on December 1st. And I will put that in the chat in a minute. But with that being said, I just want to mention also that the Merrimack Valley Chamber has over 100 programs each year. Even through this pandemic, we've had 80 virtual events. If you're not a member yet, the Merrimack Valley Chamber is a great resource for you to connect and grow your business with, as we have events each and every week designed for you that are relevant and timely and effective. So if you're interested in becoming a member, feel free to contact myself or Ryan or anyone from the chamber after the conference. But with that being said, I want to introduce our moderator. Melissa Sue Padilla is the director of Cambridge College Lawrence Regional Center, located at the Riverwalk. With 17 years of higher education experience and working in the Lawrence community for over 13 years, and teaches as an adjunct professor for undergraduate and graduate courses. Her passion is in the importance on earning a college degree, no matter if you started years ago or just starting. She has a number of partnerships. One is with Northern Essex Community College in Lawrence. You'll be hearing from Dr. Laura today. And she wants to support people on their educational journey. Melissa holds an associate's and bachelor's degree in business administration and organizational leadership from Southern New Hampshire University. a Master of Education in Special Education from Cambridge College, and is working on her MBA with New England Institute of Business. Melissa is a resident of New Hampshire, where she raises her 3 children. She has a number of hobbies, including the climbing mountains, the White Mountains, or finding anywhere where there is water. And lastly, and one of my favorite things is that Melissa is now a proud board member of the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce. So with that being said, I want to introduce our moderator for today, Melissa Sue Padilla. You just got to mute, Melissa.
Thank you, everyone. I think that's the common theme where everyone says you have to unmute with this virtual technology, right? So virtual clap to everyone. Good afternoon. I wanted to thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the Chamber's 9th Annual Women in Business Conference. And as you can imagine, we all miss being part of the networking world where in-person conversations help build up a network of hardworking individuals to share their passions and greatest achievements. However, our new norm of virtual meetings seem to be endless. The best part is, no matter what, we're still trying to adapt to new changes and work with technology, which may not always be on our side, along with any possible distractions in the background, like your cat walking across the screen, that seem not to ever bother you when you want to get some kitty love. Needless to say, but do love that we can still continue to support our chamber by joining these fantastic virtual events, no matter how they are displayed. We all like to thank all those who have taken their time of their day to support these 4 fantastic women in business to showcase their hard work, dedication, and greatest achievements. I've had the honor last year to be part of this greatest panel and sat next to our keynote speaker, Congresswoman Lori Trahan. I am going to speak a little bit about her background and then pass on the baton to her. Lori Trahan was born and raised in a working class family in Lowell, Massachusetts. Her father was a union iron worker and her mother was a domestic worker who juggled various part-time jobs while raising 4 girls. The first in her family to graduate from college, Lori earned a scholarship to play Division I volleyball at Georgetown University. She joined the staff of her former Congresswoman, Marty Meehan, as a scheduler, and eventually working in her way up as chief of staff. Following her public service, Lori began working as a private sector as the only female executive at the tech company before moving on to co-found a woman-owned operator. There's that kitty. Consulting from Concierge. She advised various companies on business strategy and how to create the ideal conditions for employees, especially women, to thrive. And as the member of the House of Education and a Labor of House Armed Services Committee, Lori's focused on fighting for working families on issues such as affordable health care, quality public education, workforce development, and the environment of working to the end of pain and suffering of the opioid crisis. Allow for me to introduce to you Lori Trahan.
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction, Melissa. It's great to see you again. It's great to see all of you again. I'll start by saying that the work Joe, Michael, and everyone at the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce have been doing in recent months has been so important in keeping our small businesses throughout this region afloat. And I couldn't be more thankful for the partnership as we continue to navigate the obstacles created by this pandemic. And I'm also grateful for the opportunity to participate in this year's luncheon. I know it's a different format than we're used to, and you might see one of my children run into the room because they're remote learning or a dog bark, but I think it's testament to all of us that we're able to come together in this new format and recognize and celebrate the incredible accomplishments of these outstanding women, Karen, Noemi, and Tricia. And as I scrolled through the grid, it's just terrific to see so many familiar faces, but I also see some new ones out there. So as Melissa said, you know, I'll just give you a little bit of my background for those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. I proudly represent Massachusetts' 3rd Congressional District and includes a large portion of the Merrimack Valley. It goes all the way west to Gardner and Fitchburg, south to Marlborough, Hudson, with 37 communities in total. And what informs what I work on in the Congress is not only getting out and having on the ground conversations with the communities and the people that I'm so proud to represent, but I was born and raised in a working class family in Lowell. You know, my mom was a domestic worker. My dad was an iron worker, and I watched them work long hours to keep a roof over our family's heads, and put food on the table for my three sisters and me. And when we talked about college, it was a dream for us, but we knew we couldn't afford it on our own. So when I earned a volleyball scholarship to attend Georgetown, it was a game changer. Enormous source of pride, certainly, because I became the first person in my family to graduate from college, but also, you know, just seared into my soul the importance of making college affordable for anybody who wants to go to college. As Melissa said, when I graduated, I joined then Congressman Marty Meehan's team as a scheduler, eventually working my way up to become his chief of staff. And it's over those 10 years where I really fell in love with the idea of serving the community that I grew up in. So I did leave Capitol Hill for a little bit of time. I joined a tech company. I was the only female executive at a Cambridge startup, an industry dominated by men and ripe with inequities, both invisible and wholly obvious. And I may have had a seat at the table, but I lost a lot of battles because I was outnumbered. So I changed my seat. I co-founded a consulting company with two incredible women, by the way. And we were focusing on strengthening large companies by making sure that women not only had a seat at the table and a voice in the boardroom, but that we coached the other people sitting around that table how to, you know, pull out of them their important and their diverse perspective. You know, working for myself, it couldn't have come at a better time. You know, I had two young daughters at the time, and I was able to do what so many working women these days aren't, and that was find a balance that worked for my family and my career. But, you know, then 2016 happened. You know, I guess I watched as the vitriol that drove me out of politics maybe 15 years earlier reached a new pinnacle. And I knew that as a country, we needed more voices in our government who were willing to come together and find solutions, not use their platforms to create further division. In other words, I knew we needed more women in elected office. So when Congresswoman Nikki Tsongas decided not to seek re-election in 2017, I had one of those rare moments of clarity, and I decided to run. And I had never held public office before, but that's not what my campaign was about. It was making sure that as women, we added seats to that proverbial table. You know, I don't need to read another study to know that when more women are at the table, we have better discussions, we make better decisions, and we have better outcomes. And indeed, I have lived it, as so many of you have too. So we ran a campaign built on the promise that we'd work with anyone we could, Republican or Democrat, to craft common sense solutions to problems that don't discriminate based on political affiliation. And it worked. You know, for the first time in Massachusetts history, a congressional seat was passed from one woman to another. I became part of a historic freshman class 2 years ago, made up of more women, more people of color, and more diversity than any other that preceded us. So, but we knew that our work wasn't done just because we got elected. Instead, it was just getting started. And what's been missing in Washington for a long time are people who are willing to say the obvious, that economic issues and women issues aren't exclusive. Rather, women's issues are inherently rooted in economic issues and vice versa. We know that when women are given an opportunity to succeed professionally and personally, our country succeeds. And I've been working with that in mind for the past 2 years. Since being sworn in last January, I've worked across party lines to deliver for women in our military. I've supported legislation that ensures equal pay for equal work by ending the gender wage gap. An unprecedented investment in childcare so that women can continue contributing to our economy. And I've advocated for COVID-19 small business relief that prioritizes women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses. You know, we've been successful on many of these initiatives, but others have stalled due to opposition from politicians who are content with the status quo. But it's I guess, thanks in large part to opportunities like this, where I see each of your tremendous achievements, and that I continue to be motivated and inspired to keep working to create a better America for our daughters. So I want to thank you all again for inviting me to be part of this incredible event. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for continuing to raise the bar for what women can achieve. You are the backbone of our region's economy, and you're blazing a path for generations of future women business owners to come. So congratulations to the woman being honored here today on all you've accomplished. I look forward to celebrating again with all of you in person once it's safe for us to convene. I do have to leave for a committee hearing, so take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Trahan. We appreciate you. A round of applause virtual for you for taking the time. We know that you're very busy, so thank you again, and I hope to see you really soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
With great honor, our next fantastic woman, part of the Hollywood Squares, as you can see here, I have the honor to introduce Karen Andreas. Karen Andreas is a regional publisher of the North of Boston Media Group, which publishes 8 newspapers, including the Eagle Tribune, Andover Townsman, and Haverhill Gazette, as well as the company's 12 magazines and affiliated websites. That's a lot. Karen has worked in the media business for 30 years, starting as a news reporter and working her way up through the newsroom ranks to lead Eagle Tribune Publishing Company for several years as the executive editor and vice president of news. As a regional publisher of what is now called North of Boston Media Group, Karen oversees all operations of the business, including the newsrooms, advertising, customer service, printing, distribution, and delivery. Her company employs more than 300 people in 6 locations, the largest being the Eagle Tribune on Route 114 in North Andover. Karen also enjoys giving back to the community and serves on numerous local boards, including Northern Essex Community College Foundation Board, the Lawrence Partnership, Essex National Heritage Board of Overseers, to just name a few. She's also a graduate of the University of New Hampshire. Karen is a longtime resident of Danvers, Massachusetts, where she and her husband, Mike, have 2 sons. I will allow for you to have the honor to have Karen speak more upon her background and share with her, her greatest accomplishments to us. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Melissa. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Hello. It's so great to see so many familiar faces, and I look forward to meeting every single one of you that I haven't had a chance to say hello to in person. Zoom is difficult, of course, but it has really provided a great opportunity for us to continue to get together. I was talking to my husband this morning and told him that I had to go, I have to Zoom. And he said, it's funny, it's now a verb, right? We've learned these new words, and I have to Zoom. So I just want to thank Joe and Michael for this great opportunity to speak with all of you. Every time I get together in these settings, I learn more from all of you than I'm sure that I can ever say to you. So thank you for everything that each of you teach me as well. Joe asked me to talk a little bit about my background and how I work through work-life balance. So happy to do so. I did start many moons ago as a reporter, a cub reporter. I've been in the local news business for a very long time, and I absolutely love it. I believe in the power of great local journalism and its positive effect on democracy. Now more than ever, it is so important to what we do. So I just absolutely love my job, and I really appreciate the people that I work with because it's a very, very difficult business. My background, I grew up in Fitchburg. The Congresswoman mentioned Fitchburg. I also grew up in a working class family in a duplex in Fitchburg. My grandparents lived on the first floor, and my parents and my brother and I were on the second floor in a big Italian family. And just, we were the hub of the family because my grandparents were there. So it was just fantastic growing up in a really close-knit family. But I was also the first to go to college in my family, and it was a struggle for us to afford it. So that was a great challenge for me and my family. And I'm so happy that my mother and father found a way for me to attend the University of New Hampshire. That education has been so important to my career, and incredibly appreciative for that. I think about leadership and work-life balance, its effects on work-life balance all the time. I'm sort of a leadership nerd. I'm reading about it all the time, talking about it all the time, thinking about it all the time. And it's an issue that affects the work-life balance is an issue that affects both men and women, of course, but we really only hear about it for women, right? It's one of those issues. Let's talk about work-life balance. So I remind myself that it's really important for everyone around me as well. And my leadership style is to embrace family and family first, and let everyone know who works with me that family always comes first. So I think that's been very important for me personally and for those around me. I'm constantly reading about leadership, whether it's books, great books, blogs, email newsletters. I'm sure many of you, like me, receive daily emails from sources on, and they will send different updates on how to lead through challenging times and how not to procrastinate and all of these issues. I encourage all of you to read as much as you can and make it your own, really make it your own. Some tips will work and others not so much. Yesterday, I got this, I won't say where it's from, but 9 things every woman should do before 9 a.m. So it's the morning routine for women leaders. And I'll tell you, it was pretty funny to me. So wake early, and it talks about the importance of waking early. Hydrate, so drink water. So I'm in trouble there because I drink coffee in the morning. Exercise before 9 a.m., not happening for me. Meditate, okay, not happening for me in the morning, no. Breakfast, maybe not. It's supposed to be nutritious, so I guess my blueberry muffin doesn't count. Read a book or listen to a podcast. Okay, this is all happening before 9 a.m. Practice gratitude. I like this. Recite a gratitude mantra. Are you all laughing? I hope so. It's hard to be funny on Zoom. I'm Zooming. Recite a gratitude mantra during your yoga practice or morning shower. Okay, this will help you form the habit of practicing gratitude and, plan your day and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know about you, but my mornings, I'm doing laundry. I'm swiffering dog hair. Swiffering has become a verb for me. I'm trying to find a blouse that isn't wrinkled. So what I'm getting at is to be realistic about work-life balance. Be realistic about it. Nobody's perfect. No one has all the answers. I certainly do not. And with that said, I will let you in on a little secret about me. Those of you who know me know that I am a list person. So I make lists for everything. And my favorite little invention that I have is my little book. And I keep this in my briefcase or purse or car or wherever I am. So it has 2 sides, and one is for work with literally pages like check, and these are real, check on minimum wage impact for 2020, update manager bonus plans, submit magazine covers, etc. And then I flip it over to the other side and I have my list for my personal life. Pick up my new eyeglasses, call the Y to get back into the gym. Not in the morning. Return my old Comcast equipment. Okay, all that stuff, right? So this works for me. This really does work for me. But my point is, you have to find a system that works for you. This system may not work for you, but find a system that works for you and don't beat yourself up. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has perfect work-life balance. The cat is going to run by. The dog is going to bark when you're on that really important phone call. The key is to make it look like you've mastered it. That's the secret. No one has really mastered it, but pretend that you have. That is the secret. And then that's how you move forward with it. The more you read about it, the more you think about it, the more you talk about it openly with your friends, with your coworkers, with your staff, and with men of influence who are in your life. It's not just an issue for women, it's an issue for men as well. And there are so many great male influences that we all have. And men understand, really great male leaders also understand the need for work-life balance. So never let them see you sweat and pretend that you have it all figured out. Because even that mindset for yourself, knowing that it's okay, it really is okay. Oh, let me tell you one more thing. I got an email this morning on Zoom calls, okay? What not to wear to a Zoom call. So really, I get this morning as I come to work. You're not supposed to wear stripes. Did you know that? Well, I don't know if you can tell, but this is striped. So I'm also in trouble on that. But I did wear pants. It said, make sure you wear pants. It really did say this, because if you have to jump up for one of your children or the dog or whatever, it's really important. So I actually wore a suit today. So that felt very good because I haven't done that in a very long time. COVID is just crazy, as we all know, and you have to find the humor in life and in situations. So keep Zooming, keep Swiffering, keep on trying to find that work-life balance, and don't beat yourself up. Know that we can do it together. And I'm just happy to be here with all of you. And hopefully I made you smile a little bit today. And I look forward to questions or discussion or robust conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karen. I think you and I should tag team on the jokes because we're doing well. Thank you again. And I would say meditation even in the shower works. So even though you don't realize it, you are meditating for sure.
Okay, I'll try it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank
Next on the fantastic list here that I have the greatest honor to introduce to you is our, my goodness, Northern Essex Community College Vice President, Dr. Noemi Custodia-Lora. I've been working with Dr. Noemi Custodia-Lora for many years now, so this is with a great honor and respect to introduce you to her, to you all, part of this business panel for women. She is the Vice President of Lawrence Campus and Community Relations at the Northern Essex Community College. With a focus on the Hispanic community, she leads the Center for Adult Basic Education, the Center for Professional Development, and the new Center for Equity and Social Justice. She spearheads PIES Latinos in Northern Essex, the only Hispanic focused initiative that supports professional immigrants to validate their foreign credentials and continue their career pathways in the U.S. She's also a board member of several organizations, including the National Skills Coalition of Racial Equality Panel, the Lawrence Alliance of Education, the Behavioral Latino Coalition, and E Para Todos. She also leads several projects in collaboration with university partners and community-based organizations in the Dominican Republic. Noemi holds a Bachelor's of Science in Biology from the Universidad de Puerto Rico, a doctorate in physiology from Boston University, a postdoctorate research fellowship from Tufts Medical School, Boston. She lives in Haverhill with her 2 daughters, and when she's not busy, you can find her caring for at least 60 indoor plants and 9 freshwater snails, and loves to cook with her daughters. Noemi, I think you have more plants than me, so great job in that. I would like to introduce to you Dr. Noemi Custodia-Lora.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Noemi, and I want to thank the Chamber to give me the opportunity, and also to my fellow panelists and Melissa for the honor to be here. This is one of my plants, one of my babies. I do have more than 60. Some of those, they were from the office. So in the office, I used to have about 20, and I brought them here. So everybody's happy, so that's a good thing. Karen, I was laughing at your jokes because everything that you were saying is true. We need to find what works for us. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then what are the things that I do to cope with the life that we have right now. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and both of my parents are from the Dominican Republic. My passion have always been related to education as a way to overcome poverty and moving up the socioeconomic ladder, and I'm a product of that. I was, born and raised in Puerto Rico, but my parents were immigrants from the Dominican Republic. So I faced many of the same issues that immigrant families face today that are beyond racism. What I mean by that is the inability to get access to resources because they might not know what the resources are or how they do it. Things that today we take for granted, we didn't have as a new immigrant family in Puerto Rico when I was raised. We didn't have health insurance, we didn't have house insurance, we didn't understand the process to even get a landline phone. So we didn't get a phone until I was in 6th grade. And we got our first microwave when I was like 7th grade, something like that. But, still we did okay. And, my parents always reinforced in us the importance to go into school. And here where I am now that, I have a Ph.D. and I'm a proud member of Northern Essex Community College. In terms of how we cope with life, and I've been thinking a lot about this, and Karen, like you, I like to read a lot, and I'm a podcast junkie, so there's a lot of podcasts related to that. My answer to that is looking at emotional resiliency, and that is in the way in which we can balance our life even during difficult and stressful time. And when I say balance, is that it's never going to be perfect, but is what is the closest that we can get to have a balanced life without going crazy. And, in general, this goes, for women, but also, men too. But in general, women, we're multitasking creatures. We're the fixers. We're always taking care of everybody. And so we have already a tendency to be naturally emotional resilient. And as part of the emotional resiliencies, they are, the 5 main pillars are self-aware, self-care, healthy relationship, mindfulness, there we go, and purpose. So we'll give you an example of how I cope with those things. So in terms of self-awareness, I match that with mindfulness. I'm not the type to meditate. I used to do yoga before, but right now I feel too anxious to stay still. So one of the things that I do is I try to understand myself, who I am, and how do I respond to stress, anger, and frustration. So I need to understand and be aware of my emotions, and in a way that is mindfulness, because it helps us to better cope with who we are. And instead of denying an emotion that we have, is just being aware of what they are and figure out how we can let it go. So for me, when I'm very overwhelmed with work, or when I'm very stressed, the first thing that I do is I get into cleaning mode. I don't know why, but the more stressed that I am, the more I tend to start vacuuming or start cleaning the bathroom. So nowadays, when I caught myself on a Thursday night, like 9 p.m., with this urge to start vacuuming and cleaning the bathroom, I know that it's bad. So at that point, I stop myself, start thinking about, okay, what is it that is bothering me? And I stop, and I make myself a bath. I set up a glass of wine or warm tea or both, depending on how stressed I am. And I listen to a podcast and let it go. So for me, that's a way in which, I'm aware of what's happening and trying to figure out what are the things that relaxes me. And then eventually I will have to deal with whatever was causing me stress, but at least it will be in a calm way. The other thing that I'm trying to do, and I'm not very good at, but I'm trying, is self-care. And I divide those into physical and emotionally. and physically, and I'm looking at everybody here, how many of you have procrastinated and have not scheduled your mammogram for the men, your annual check because you're too busy? Your schedule is like overwhelmed. Come on, you guys, you can raise your hands. Let me see you. Exactly. Yet, if one of your kids or maybe a parent in the nursing home, they call you because they're sick, you drop everything and go and take them to the doctor, isn't it? So that means that we have time. It is a matter of creating the priority. So we need to set a priority to us, because if we cannot take care of ourselves, we won't be able to take care of our family. So we have to be mindful of that. And I'm very bad. And guys, it's not that mammograms are funny, are fun business anyway, but I do it. And I'm mindful and I'm intentional and setting up on my schedule, because I have to make sure that I need to take care of myself. Emotionally, this is another one. You need to find a way to find a happy place for you to be alone, where nobody is bothering you, where you can actually be with yourself and your thoughts and release all the energy. Before children, my alone place was the bathroom, where I can just take a bath and just let it go. Once you have children, for those of you that have, forget it. It's almost like they have a sensor in the bathroom, and they know when you're going to be there. And the minute you close the door, it's like, mom, 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 mom. And if you do not respond, they know that they can pass those notes under the door. And you see like all those sticky notes and just give you so much anxiety. You're like, I can't take this. So your alone place is not your place anymore. So what I decided to do is, I started thinking about, okay, because my schedule is very busy and very crazy, but you still need to find a happy place. So my happy place is the supermarket. So everybody knows that the day that I'm doing food shopping is my sacred time. Nobody's going with mama. I don't care. There is a special next door at Target. No, you're not going. I'm going by myself. And I get on my headphones, put on my podcast, and I just enjoy even at looking at the different bottles of sauce. I don't care. It is my alone time. It is a beautiful moment. The supermarket, I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the pandemic that everybody was going crazy with the packages of, that was before the mask, the packages of toilet paper and flour. I don't know what people were doing with the toilet paper, but that's still a mystery to me. But anyway, everybody going crazy. I was strolling like nothing was happening. I was probably the Martians will look from the outside. They said, that's a crazy lady. She's the only one that is not following the crew. That's the outlier. No. I was enjoying my time and my moment. I would get home. I didn't care there was a line, that I was in line to check the groceries like an hour. I was in my zone. You need to find your zone. You need to find that space where you can be alone, and make sure that you do it in a regular basis, because we all need that time just to be ourselves. And sometimes you get to a point that you even forget anything outside of who you are. So this is something that I recommend everybody to find that space. And then the other one that I'm going to mention is having healthy relationships. In the case of women here, we all need other women to talk, to get a sense of empathy, compassion, to compare notes, and to agree with each other that we're not crazy, even though our kids think that we're crazy and we do not know anything about it. So this is something that we need to have, that group where you can say whatever you want, you can just let go your emotions, and you're not judged. And for example, for those of you that are in your 40s-ish, welcome to your second teenager era, aka premenopause, hot flashes, insomnia, and the unprovoked primal rage. Only those of us that are in those teenagers years will understand the other ones. We need that, because every once in a while, you just explode, you have no idea. And then the other one say, oh yeah, that happens to me. And it kind of like calm you down, even though we're all crazy, but at least we're crazy together. We need that. We need that. And in the case of the males that are dealing with us going through our teenagers year, you guys can compare notes like, oh no, don't talk to her. Just leave her alone. It will go away in maybe 10 years. Just lay low and you will be fine. So we all need our own spaces where we can actually release that. Other than that, again, I feel like, Karen, you just try to do your best to figure out what will work for you. Not everything works for everybody, but one of the things that I do emphasize people is we need to take care of ourselves, trying to find your safe space and trying to have your niche of a network of people that you can rely on just to even vent. So that's how I cope. So thank you, everybody.
I love that. Round of applause with the dog in the back. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That was all great tidbits. And as the dog barks, we'll continue on. So if we have any questions, just leave those to the end. We do have our final speaker here that I'm going to wind up introducing. So allow for me to do so. Our next and our final fantastic woman here is Tricia Sabulis. She's the Vice President of AP Michaud Insurance Agency. She has won many awards, including one for Merrimack Valley Magazine's Top 40 Under 40 in the year of 2013. That's fantastic. Along with many other awards within the community. She holds a degree in marketing and the background in direct marketing. Tricia joined her family agency with AP Michaud Insurance Agency in 2007 to bring her marketing expertise to the agency, but also to learn the insurance industry where she planned to stay. She started as a receptionist and worked her way up through the personal lines, customer service, and account manager to commercial lines and account management, into sales, and into her current position. Today, Tricia is poised to take the reins of the business of her maternal grandfather, who had began this fantastic journey. Personally, Tricia lives in West Newbury with her husband, Mike, and her two daughters, Hannah and Nola. Allow for me to introduce to you, Tricia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm honored to be a part of the panel with these amazing women. So when I sat down to write the speech and Joe and Mike said, tell us about your journey, tell us about how your work-life balance is going through the pandemic and what you've learned. And I kind of focused on what I've learned. So I've had the past 15 years working in my family business, and I've learned a lot professionally and personally, and I wanted to share a little bit about that with you today. But first, a little bit about my journey. Melissa kind of touched on it, but my business is AP Michaud Insurance. It's family owned and operated, and we're celebrating our 46th year here in the Merrimack Valley. I officially joined the agency after a few brief years in the direct marketing industry, but even throughout high school and college, I would work summers and learn a little bit about it, but I always knew I wanted to come back and join permanently. It always excited me, the opportunity that I had. It's very rare to be able to walk into a business and help run it right away. I knew it wouldn't be easy though. I was the child of the owner and I had to prove myself. I wasn't going to walk in there and just coast. It was very, very important to me. And I knew that no one would respect me if I didn't. So I started at the most entry-level position and worked my way up. I made sure I met as many of our clients as possible and learned every aspect of the business. It was also really important to show the staff that I was really willing to work hard, but also my dedication to them and the agency. So fast forward, here I am today in front of you all. Our agency has grown a lot over the years, and so have I. Here are some of the most influential things that I've learned. When I first started, I thought about what a member of the community would want from me as an insurance agent. This helped shape the kind of agent that I wanted to be, but also how our agency could grow. Someone knowledgeable, of course, but also hardworking, reliable, honest and ethical, friendly and professional, but that's somebody who always followed through on what they said that they were going to do. From those same thoughts, I learned that if you're willing to give back to the community will give back to you and support you. This realization has become a part of our philosophy, and we all work hard together to reach those same goals of what our community expects of us. And we also created a community giving plan to ensure that we support the people and the organizations that have supported us. When you're young and just learning, the worst thing you think you could do is to admit that you don't know something. I think when I first joined, you're learning insurance and it's a lot and you don't want to admit it, but it's okay. I've learned that it's so important to admit this, and it gives you the opportunity to learn, and we should never stop learning. Also, in a small business, there are so many things that you don't think that you need, or you don't even know that you need, that are out there. And a lot of it is trial and error, going back and forth about what really truly fits your business. Just ask my staff, ask them about telephone systems and customer relationship management systems, and every single one will roll their eyes, because we've been through so much. It's also okay to admit that you've made a mistake, and it's actually imperative that you open up about the mistake. You need to be able to accept the responsibility and take actions to fix it. This is something that we really stress with all of our staff, and I can't help you if you don't tell me that you've made a mistake, and I'm never going to be mad, but we need to be able to fix it together before it turns into something larger. It's also a foundation to learning opportunities. Treat your staff and employees like family. You know, we always say that we're a family business, and everybody that works with us is family as well. And we love each other, and we love working together. Also bring them into the decisions that you're making for the business. I think it brings a really nice perspective, and it helps the process. The smallest things make the biggest impact. We're a small community business, and we are there for the community, and we want them to know that we're thankful for them. You know, sending a thank you card or a handwritten note, an email or a phone call for their birthdays. It really is the best way to differentiate yourself, you know, especially as a small community business. And I know I've said that, but there are so many larger companies out there, and we want them to know that we appreciate them. Don't stop learning. So I don't mean regarding your profession or, you know, doing your CEU updates. I mean professionally and personally. I think we can always learn more and improve ourselves. And especially if you're a leader or a supervisor. I mean, even as you lead, you have to continue learning, and the people that you're leading are giving you the lessons. So always stay open and always stay curious. This one, be true to yourself. And in the way, don't be what the job thinks that you should be. So I'm an insurance agent, and I think this every day. I work in a primarily male industry, but I'm not typically what you would expect to see as an insurance agent. I'm a female. I regularly get asked my age. You know, I love fashion, and I love heels, and I love purses, and I'm a little silly. I spend the majority of my days with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. So I hang with kids more than I hang with adults. But at our office, we have fun together, and we're happy. We all wear matching slippers because, well, winter is coming and you don't want cold feet. So when you come into our office, it's a little bit different, and we like it that way because our different personalities and different perspectives make us good insurance agents and good for our clients. And I think people really enjoy that about us. Surround yourself with great people. And I truly am surrounded by great people at my agency and outside. It's the reason I'm here today. Mike and Joe have been so instrumental to the growth of my agency and to myself. I mean, from the very, very beginning, when I joined the agencies, one of the first things that I did was join the Merrimack Valley Chamber. And I've met amazing people, and I've surrounded myself with strong business owners who teach me and help me, and I network with, and they've worked with my clients and I've worked with theirs. But overall, we've all just become good friends, and that's the best thing that you can do. So since you're here today, you already know that you're surrounding yourself with amazing people already, and the Merrimack Valley Chamber, that's a great resource. And Mike and Joe are just all around great human beings. So especially as women as well, it's really important that we support each other, and we're very fortunate to have the organizations locally that we do that are providing avenues for this. And finally, accept the challenges in your life and allow yourself to learn and grow from them. We've all gone through something, you know. It can be very, very large, or it can be very, very small, but it affects us. And don't let that beat you down. You know, we're here in the middle of a pandemic. Let's make something positive of it. And I think that we're all learning to do that right now. And it's something, this is going to be something that we all remember in the next 15 years. We're all going to say, I remember the pandemic, and this is exactly what I got out of it. And it's going to be positive, and it's going to be happy. But at the end of the day, this is just my journey, and it's only the beginning. I'm only 15 years in. I think I'm the youngest here in this group, but I'm just so honored to be a part of it. Thank you all for being here today and opening yourselves up for what I had to say. And then hopefully we're all able to be together in person soon so that I can hear a little bit of what you have to teach me and a little bit about your journey. So thank you so much for everyone today.
Thank you so much, Tricia. A round of applause again on our virtual world. Thank you. Is there any questions for our speakers today? If so, if you can add it to the chat.
Melissa, a couple that came in, they're wondering if the speakers could share in the chat any books or podcasts that you guys would recommend. Karen, you mentioned that you have a few, so if you guys could type that in the chat, I'll make sure to share it after this session.
Yes, that would be great.
This is the book I'm reading right now. I don't know if you can see it. John Maxwell, Falling Forward. It's really, really good. John Maxwell is one of my favorite leadership authors. He has have any of you read his books? He has a really good style. They're very quick reads. You can pound through this in an hour or two. You really can. But I often go through and highlight what I love, the tips, and then I'll go back and read it over and over. So I highly recommend any book by John Maxwell. Very, very good.
Love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any of our other speakers have any fantastic podcast that you would like to share? Noemi?
I'm a podcast junkie. Like it's an addiction for me. And so it depends on what you want. So I have the ones that are more towards leadership and professional development. And I have the ones that I call bubblegum for your mind, which is like, I don't know if it's useless information, but it's just for the entertainment value. So for the ones that are more about, professionalism and careers, I recommend A Mindful Moment. And they're usually about 15 minutes or so. And it's mostly for women talking about how they cope in the world that we are, what are the different strategies that you can use. I like another one that is called Poetry Unbound. And the last one is Untangled Muse Meditation for Curious Mind. And Karen, this is my way of meditating because I'm not a meditating person. So at least something that is entertaining that can feel as meditation, because meditation is good, people, for everybody. It's just that I'm very antsy. Like I cannot sit down for too long and without doing something. So that's a way to do that. And then the ones that are more like for bubble gum from your brain. I used to teach nutrition. So I like a podcast called Gastropod. It's a history and science of food, the food that we eat. So I highly recommend Gastropod. Another one is called The Memory Palace, and it's vignette about stories across the United States. And Noble Blood, which is different stories about the royals in the old days and how the scandals that they have and so forth. So that's my favorite. That's my favorite one for when I do food shopping, people. So
I love that. Perfect. Well, if you are interested on perhaps meditating, I can recommend to you a guided meditation by Sam Harris. There's an actual app for it, and it builds up to meditation up to 15 minutes, and it's daily. So that if you want to just stay with maybe just the fourth day, just to keep building upon the meditation and mindfulness, you can. So a guided meditation by Sam Harris, I do highly recommend. All right, well, it looks like I don't have any questions here from any of our fantastic group here. So I do want to close the program. And by doing so, I want to thank Rayanne and Mary Beth from the Chamber office for all of their hard work and helping with today's program, along with Michael and Joe for making this happen for us to allow for us to speak and have this panel, and looking forward to moving forward on continuing the partnership with the Chamber and working with all of you, and hopefully soon enough we'll be able to share the same room together. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.